Welcome back, baby. We're a little bit late, but it's never, ever, ever, ever too late to enjoy the fact that we have a brand new NBA champion this year. But we just haven't seen win anything in a very long time. Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks. Shout out to Greek Freak in the gang. Honestly, it's even hard to just specifically say Greek Freak because Chris Middleton did what he had to do. And how about the defensive performance from Drew Holiday? But before we jump right into it, I had to have my boy Steve-O back on the show as always. Steve-O, what it do?
What up? What up?
I mean, how you feeling about the NBA champions being the Bucks?
Well, the way I see it, both of those teams were not. If it was a healthy, if everybody was healthy, I don't think either of those teams make it to the finals.
That's I think we all can agree with you on that one. But it's not
I don't.
about that. It's not about that. You
Okay,
gotta give
personally,
credit where
okay,
credit's
all right,
due.
yes, they did their thing. They went down 0-2, and then they were like, we ain't losing again.
They went Super
And sure enough,
Saiyan.
they did. I mean, we could give credit to them, but let's face it, Chris Paul, I don't know what happened after those first two games, man. I
Scott
really
Foster
don't.
happened. The NBA rigged,
He
my man.
He, because I personally wanted him to win it all.
Me too.
Just one time, just one time. Giannis has I don't know how many more years in him. He probably has at least like close to 10.
Exactly.
CP3 has maybe 2, 3 good years left. So I wanted him to get it. Obviously, he didn't. The Suns, obviously, if they keep everybody, I don't know what's going to happen with Chris Paul though. I mean, he probably won't be in Phoenix next year, to be honest. But it would be nice for them to basically run it back with that squad.
I hope Chris Paul stays because I do want to see what will happen with all the teams being as healthy as they possibly can be next year. If he does leave, I want him to go ahead and hop on that train to LA, man, and go get a ring with Bron Bron. I don't care how he does it, but I need my man to get one ring, just like you said. And yeah, Giannis has time, man. He's so young, he can still win a few more. You know,
Oh yeah,
um,
definitely, especially with that core. Because I mean, I know you're not a big name, but DiVincenzo, he was hurt in I believe it was like the first round. He got hurt,
yeah, he did.
and that hurt. That hurt. It hurts them because he brings obviously he brings some defense and he brings some scoring,
Hmm.
but he also brings depth. And when you got depth, I mean, you need that. You just plain and plain need that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I did notice is these two teams just they really were the healthiest teams left in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. I mean, they didn't really
Exactly.
have more than one or a very key guy being out, so they were two of the healthiest teams left. I would definitely love to see. I mean, honestly, this is one of those years where I really wish we can kind of redo this whole year with no injuries. Teams stay the same, just so we can see, you know, all the. I mean, the teams are pretty even, man. You gotta. I
They
mean,
are.
imagine the healthy Jazz, the healthy Golden State. I mean, let's think about it this way: the West alone would be insane if everybody was healthy.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, even the East. The East were injured. Obviously, the Nets were beat up. You had the
I mean, does it?
Heat that were beat up. The Pacers couldn't get right from the moment they picked up the ball this year.
You said the Heat like they were gonna do something. They weren't gonna do anything in that East.
Are they bubble
They're.
frauds? Are they bubble frauds?
I'm not gonna say bubble frauds. I mean, they make the playoffs, but they would be no higher than like a 6 seed, even when fully healthy.
Six.
6, yes.
You hate them boys, man.
I mean, I don't hate them. I just don't think they have that. I mean, Tyler Hero, he had a couple good games. Other than that, he is what he is, I believe. I mean, he can go off, but for the most part, he's going to be somebody that's going to get you with. He's going to be a good role player.
So say he
He's not
Kyle.
gonna be.
So he Kyle Kuzma.
Nah, he better than Kuzma. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the little quote from Kuzma for report, but I guess he said he sees himself as the same caliber player as Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I seen that.
I
That's
mean, shit, confidence is key, bro.
Hey man,
Confidence is
hey,
key.
if you can't believe yourself, how do you expect other people to?
Exactly, but I mean, I thought that was just funny because I mean, how can you watch Tatum and then really think that?
All right, listen, like I said, he gotta believe in it himself, or no one will. But back to the Bucks again. They're pretty loaded, and they're gonna be content for a while because I think their big three is locked up for a while, right? Between Drew
I don't.
Holiday, Middleton, and
Yeah, I
Giannis,
think
they still got at
I want
least
to
2 years,
say
right?
I want to say like three.
So
I want to
yeah,
say Drew Holiday was locked in for a 4 year contract, and then obviously this was that 1 year. So now he got three more, and I believe Middleton is close to the same. But I mean, definitely 2 years they got left. But I want to say it's three.
now earlier you already said if everyone was healthy, you don't see the Bucks, you don't see even Phoenix making it as far as they did. So let me ask you this: what does Philly or not Philly? What does Milwaukee have to do in this offseason to keep being a top contender in the East?
Ooh, that's. I mean, their starting five can play with just about anybody.
Hmm.
But obviously, you're gonna have to get yourself. I feel like more shooting, even though I mean they can shoot lights out anyway. But I feel like you're gonna have to get more shooting and a another another let's see perimeter player, like a perimeter defender to come off the bench. Because I mean, obviously Drew Holiday is going to do his thing when he's in there, but when he's
Hmm.
out of there, do they have somebody that can do that?
PJ
Because I mean,
Tucker.
doesn't he start?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Like I said, DiVincenzo was a key piece. Obviously, he got hurt,
Hmm.
but I mean, at the same time, I still you can never go wrong with more shooting and more defense. You never can, especially on
Yeah.
the perimeter.
Yeah. And I think another thing they also need is um, a solid guy off the bench as a point guard.
Yeah, because
I,
who's their backup right now?
I know Jeff Teague was getting some playing time. Do they still have George Hill?
No, he was in what's it called? He was in Philly.
That's right, George Hill's in Philly. So yeah, see, they need some help at that point guard position. Um, I, and yeah, I would say a backup option or a bench option for defense as well because once like you said, PJ Tucker and Drew Holiday are out, kind of leaving Devin Chinko out there by himself to play defense, and it becomes team ball, which is nothing wrong with it, but it's always nice to have a guy that can come in the game and lock down whoever needs to be locked down, especially in today's game where we have 6 men that are scoring 20 a game.
Hmm.
Um,
And I got a question for you then. If everyone was healthy this year, what NBA Finals matchup do you think would have happened?
I
And
see
then who
them.
would have won?
If everyone was healthy,
Yep.
110% healthy,
Yep.
I'm gonna say obviously the Nets.
Hmm.
The way the Nets were on the roll before everyone was getting injured. I mean, even when Kyrie was down and it was a healthy
Hmm.
Harden and a healthy KD, they were still damn near unbeatable. So I gotta go with the Nets on that side. And the
Yep.
West gets tricky. But if I was to say a healthy West, I'm gonna I would give a slight lean to Golden State. And before you look all shocked, let me tell you why. Steph Curry, this was probably the greatest season he's had since his MVP seasons.
Mhm.
Obviously, a healthy Clay adds a ton of difference because he's a top three two-way player in the league when he's healthy. And then, I mean, the learning curve for Wiseman wouldn't have been nearly as crucial. He wouldn't have nearly had to come in and play big tough minutes. They in the beginning of the season they looked for him to do a lot.
Yeah.
He just wasn't ready to carry the load that they needed as an interior defensive
Mhm.
presence and still be able to give them 15 a game. They weren't asking for too much offensively, but they were still asking for a healthy piece because obviously they know they're not going to get that. And Andrew Wiggins, you're not going to get 20 to 25 a night from Wiggins. You know Draymond is not out there to score. He doesn't even look to score.
No,
Um,
we don't.
so without Clay, the offense was obviously 70% Steph Curry, and then whoever else had a hot hand or whoever else had the best matchup. And
Yeah.
like I said, with Clay, I think that learning curve would have helped Wiseman. We wouldn't have seen him get benched 20, 30 games in, and I think they just would have looked a lot better.
Yeah. I could see them. Think about it. What if Murray was healthy over in Denver?
I
Jamal Murray in the season Jokic had, and then on top of that, if I know it's not a big name again, but Will Barton, him coming off the bench, that's huge.
Yeah, Will
I
Barton is
mean,
their Swiss Army knife. I mean, a lot of times Will
mhm,
Barton is their actual true point guard, quote unquote, as being their playmaker besides Jokic, obviously. It was Will
mhm,
Barton doing a lot of their, own ball
yep,
play starting. The only thing with Denver, man, is we've all been saying and waiting on Denver for the last 3 years, and they've underachieved this whole time. Regardless on
hey,
Jamal Murray, he's so inconsistent, whether he's healthy or not. He snapped in the bubble, yeah, we know. But besides that, even when he was playing this year, and even this year, we'd see a 25-point game and then not see a 12-point game. His
but
inconsistency is going to be the death of them every time.
but unlike the previous years where it was either Murray or Jokic, this year you have Michael Porter Jr. He showed up. I know he was a little inconsistent. There
He
was
he
some
picked it up.
inconsistency, but it was he just wasn't as inconsistent as he obviously was his rookie year, which can't blame him. But I mean, this year he stepped up, and next year it's going to be very interesting to see that big three.
Well, my only thing too is the way Denver's offense is set up. It's essentially 80% pick and roll. With no Jamal Murray, they had to get away from that, and it still worked. But
Mhm.
I think that's where we also saw the emergence of Michael Porter.
Yeah,
Jamal Murray coming back is obviously they're going to go back to being a 80, 70, 80% pick and roll dominant offense. And is he I'm not even gonna say is he good enough. Is he consistent enough? Is his head always there enough for him to be able to sit there and give still 17 to 20 points a game? And a lot of those are going to come off spot up jump shots.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that that's where it's going to have to become for him.
Yeah. I think Jamal Murray. I think they would have made the finals had Jamal Murray been healthy. Because Michael, the what is it? From year one to year two for Michael Porter Jr. It was a big jump. It looked like night and day from year one to year two. And I think, like I said, if Murray, I know they actually played pretty well without Murray. Once Murray went down, I think they won 10 of their next 11 games.
Yeah, they did.
But that was all because Jokic. Jokic had to take on the role as basically scorer, facilitator, basically everything.
Hmm.
And I mean, obviously that's why he got MVP.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to debate Denver. It's just I just don't. They don't have my trust anymore because I've been choosing and trying to pick Denver for the last couple of years to kind of take that next step, and they just let me down every time. So I can't. I just can't with them.
Yeah, but, I mean the West is just wide open. I mean you can pick. Some people will say Lakers with AD and LeBron. I just didn't see them have too much around that. Which I mean, obviously those are two top. I don't know, depending on where you see top five, top 10 players,
Top five.
and then we'll say top five. Okay, okay, okay. We'll say top five.
It's gonna be top five.
All right, all right. But besides them, I mean, I didn't see too much. There was way too much inconsistency with Schroeder. Then your quote unquote shooters that you had around them, they were too spotty.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just ugly. But but yeah, I mean, I, I would have had Denver and Brooklyn, and I don't see how Brooklyn, when healthy, was going to lose a finals.
yeah, no, me neither. Um, Before we move on to the next subject, it's time to make a little bit of money. So give us 1 second and sit back and enjoy this ad. All right, Steve O. I mean, uh, the NBA this year was one. I feel like the season went by fast, but two, I feel like the season could have been a lot better. I mean, injuries killed the NBA this season. I mean, we was going on spurts. So from
Mm-hmm.
the moment tip off, we was losing guys left and right. I mean, even if it was for a little bit of time, I mean, for me it just killed the season. It was hard for me to keep interest in it for the most part. I mean, even the playoffs were hard for me because people were still getting injured in the playoffs. It,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm losing my NBA fandom. Maybe Orlando has ruined the NBA for me. But I don't know, man. It was just hard to just keep up this year.
I mean, injuries happen. I mean, it's a part of the game. I mean, every sport you have injuries. Some of them obviously more impactful than others, but some people are going to blame it on the bubble and the short, basically off season in between. But I, I don't know. I don't really think it was necessarily the bubble.
Well, did
But
you enjoy this season as much as you
oh
normally
yeah,
do? As
yeah.
much as you normally do.
As I normally do. I mean, yeah. I mean, as a Sacramento King fan, we just love watching other teams win because obviously we can't ever do it. But I mean, as a Kings fan, I mean, we were in it for a while, and then we just did what we always do. We we lay down in the final like month.
Boys tried to take.
Man, oh man, I don't know what we need to do, but it's going to be interesting with Luke Walton.
Well, I
I don't
mean,
like him. I personally don't like him, but that's just me.
since we're on the topic of the Kings, right now the buzzing news is getting Buddy Hield up out of there and sending him to the Lakers. Any thoughts?
Yep, I have heard that. I don't mind it. I mean, I'd rather have him not go to the Lakers because we hate the Lakers, um, but I mean, Buddy Hield, he's getting paid a shit ton, and I don't think he's worth what he's getting paid. And I've also heard Harrison Barnes is like being talked about as well, which again, I don't think he's getting. I think he's getting overpaid. That's just the way it is, and it depends on what they give us. I mean, if they want to give us, I've heard Kuzma's in there. I've heard KCP's in the package. I wouldn't mind
That's
that. I
so
don't.
ugly.
I don't think it's that big of a. Hey, and for what the contract is for each of those guys, I'll take it
Yeah,
because both those guys are getting overpaid. It'll open up salary cap, or maybe we could do something in free agency, some like big, not re-sign Harrison Barnes to a big contract or something like that.
listen, I'm gonna go ahead and break it down to you. I hate to do it, but
Uh,
we like two piss poor teams, two piss poor managed teams. We're not attracting nothing big.
yeah, at least you guys making the playoffs.
Orlando,
Uh, didn't you guys make the playoffs?
This year, no. Last year, yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know when the last time we made the playoffs? Oh 06.
Is that the Chris Webber and Mike Bibby and Vladi
No,
Divac?
it was right after them. It was like the Tyreek Evans.
Oh,
I
Ty.
forget who
I
else.
forget
I forget
Tyreek.
who else was on that one, but it was Tyreek Evans, which, by the way, I thought was so stupid. We moved him to we moved him from off point guard after his rookie season, and after that, his
His whole
career crumbled.
career.
Yeah, like dude, I thought he
Which
was going to be like really good. I
I like.
really did.
I liked him. I really did. Um, the next thing I wanted to get into, especially since the NBA draft is Thursday. By the way, everyone who's tuned in and is listening, you guys are not going to win this Thursday. You know how we do it in any sport for the draft, or especially NBA and NFL. We like to go live on Instagram, and we get you guys involved, and we just have a blast on draft day. Obviously, for the NBA, we only kind of stick around for the lottery. We continue to watch it off air, but on air, on live, we stick around for the lottery because I can tell you 60% of America after the top 14 picks, hell, after the top 10 picks, don't know what the
Mhm.
hell is going on. So we stick
Yeah, a
around for
lot
the
of.
top 14 and then we get up out of there.
Yep.
With that being said, draft time, baby. And I'm hearing all kind of rumors, man. I've seen an insider say, he's spoken to a GM and he's expecting a record breaking amount of trades this offseason. Do I buy that? No, because it seems like every time we expect a lot of trades to go down, no shit happen. I mean, with that being said, we do already have our first,
Hmm.
NBA draft day trade. Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams, and obviously more picks involved are now moved on over to
To
where?
Memphis. Memphis.
I just had to make sure you was paying attention. Now. I had to make sure
For
you wasn't
Jonas
sleeping over there.
Valanciunas and like what the 17th pick, I think 17th and like 40 something.
Yeah, yeah. So now that 10th pick now belongs to Memphis. They get their way in the 10th. They just picked up a lot of salary cap. Kind of goes to
Hmm.
show that they're looking into a different direction. When you move Valachunas for Steven Adams, I thought that was actually a good move for them. Valachunas is an offensive minded big who he needed the ball quite a bit. He was scoring over 20 points a game, and for what? Honestly, for me in the NBA, the big should not touch the ball that much. I'm not even gonna lie to you, unless you're joking, who can make plays. Other than that, man, the big just slow the game down. But you sit here, you got Steven Adams, who all he needs is the rebound and defend. That's it. I thought that was a fine trade for what they already have on their team. They already have a lot of offensive minded guys. They needed a defensive presence in the middle. They also picked up Eric Bledsoe, who I know
Big
everybody's kind
contract.
of, I know everybody's smashing him, but Eric Bledsoe is not that bad when he's in the situation he needs to be. Plus, he's exactly what they need. They needed a backup for Ja. Ja playing 42 minutes a game, man, over here killing himself. They needed a backup, and Eric Bledsoe is decent enough, and he's defensive minded to be able to do it.
Hey, I'm just saying. Uh, Last year Bledsoe was on the Bucks. They didn't win it all. This year Bledsoe was off the Bucks and they won it all. So I'm just saying. I'm just pointing that out. Just pointing that out.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. Bledsoe didn't play for a lot of teams. I don't see them winning the championship, so I don't want to hear that.
I mean, Bledsoe was also on the Suns in his career too. They also made the finals. Just saying.
Bro, get out of here with these reaches.
Nah, but I think they made that trade because, to be honest, New Orleans wanted to get rid of Bledsoe's contract
Yes, they did.
because Bledsoe was wanting to get. I mean, they had to get rid of the 10th pick and Bledsoe for
To go down.
to go down, and they basically just. I mean, they definitely wanted out of that Bledsoe contract, and they got the best value that they could get for him. And Valachunas, I think, helps them a lot. And obviously you lose the rim protecting in Steven Adams, but now you actually have somebody that can score down low, other than Zion. And
Right.
Valanciunas can also he can hit the mid range and stuff, so he can spread the floor and let Zion have the lane to himself. Where Steven
Exactly.
Adams literally had to stay in the paint,
And
and
clog
he
the
wasn't
lane.
going to do it. Yep, exactly.
Exactly, exactly, and that's why I say I thought that deal worked out for both ends. I do think, Valanciunas is going to fit a little bit better. I mean, he was already putting up monster stats a lot some games. He was already a
Yeah,
pretty
he
good
was
big man.
dominating in the playoffs, especially round one against the Spurs.
Exactly. So they definitely got a great big in that deal, and even trading down to 17. I'm still thinking that they're looking for a point guard of their future still. There's still all the trades talks about Lonzo getting out of there. They're not sold on Lonzo.
I don't think it's. I don't think they should get rid of Lonzo. I don't. I think they should give him one more year because he definitely improved from 2 years ago to last year.
Hmm.
He definitely did, and if he can just continue that improvement, I mean, he could take that not to. I don't know if he'll ever reach All Star caliber. I mean, I think he has the potential. I don't know if he'll ever hit that, but if he can get close to All Star caliber, and then you got Zion, obviously, and then who am I missing? They got one oh Brandon Ingram. Duh. Then you got Brandon Ingram. I mean, you can form a little big three, and you can make the playoffs with that team easily, as long as you got the right coach. Which who's your coach right now? Because it ain't Van Gundy. They
No,
moved on
man.
from him, right?
Van Gundy's been gone. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But what I can say is I wouldn't. I like Lonzo. I've always liked Lonzo. For the Pelicans, I'm not sure if that's the direction they're willing to go, considering they don't have they're starting five at least. Is not the best at spacing the floor. Yes, Lonzo's shooting got a lot better this year, but at the end of the day, they have nothing but inconsistent 3-point shooters. Between him, Brandon Ingram, Zion, who starts with them? Josh Hart at the two.
No, Josh Hart comes off the bench. Who is that? The two? Dude, I forget. I really forget. Sorry,
Obviously,
Pelican fans,
obviously not,
but
obviously not the best. So that's what I'm saying. I think they're missing shooting, especially in that lineup.
oh,
And what?
Willie Green. Willie Green's the Pelicans
Yeah,
head
they
coach.
just hired Willie Green. That's right. They did just hire Willie Green. So
So that's
honestly, for
that's
them,
who
so
knows
I'm gonna
what
go
he's
ahead
doing.
and give my spoiler alert for who I want them to get at 17. For me, for them, for their team, I think Sharif Cooper will be an absolute steal, absolute monster.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
mean, I
really
haven't.
like Sharif. I really like his game. He can shoot. He's a hell of a pick and roll player. That is where he excels, is in the pick and roll. And with him being able to shoot off the dribble and create for others, I think at 17 that's a steal.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been focusing too much on the prospects, other than maybe like the top five, top 10, and then obviously my Oregon boys.
You got to pick it up, man. Thursday night coming. You better be ready.
Boy, you know I may not make it. I don't know what time the draft is. The draft's at what 5?
Oh boy, give me a new host. Steve getting out of here.
Sorry, they got me on a new schedule. I'm sorry.
Got my man slaving at work. It's all good. It's all good. We'll figure something out. Obviously, we'll talk about it a little bit more. Um, yeah, back to the NBA draft. You know, we as in Orlando. Ooh, excuse me.
Pick you guys.
We have two picks in the top 10. We have 5 and 8. We got effed over. Effed over.
Just
How
say the word.
how are we at bottom three team in the league and could not even get a top four pick? I think
Lottery, my dude.
I hate the lottery. I've never been a big fan of it.
I
Just
like
get
it.
Man, just get a worse team.
It prevents
Hey, man.
tanking, bro. It prevents tanking.
It does not
And
prevent tanking.
yes, it
It,
does.
no, it's
Why would
not.
you
No, it
tank if
doesn't,
you're
bro.
not guaranteed? That would be the dumbest thing ever. I'm gonna tank and lose all these fans and then get the fifth pick when I should have got the first pick. That's stupid.
There is not a lot of draft classes where outside of the top five you're gonna get a or you think at that time you're gonna get a superstar, world class player. So as long as you tank and you think you're gonna get in the top five, you got it. I mean, let's look at the top five this year. The draft I think is pretty talented, but I think after five, hell, after four, I think there's a drop off. And those four, obviously, Cade, Cunningham,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, who all three of those, if you want to be honest, if this was three different drafts, all three of those would be legit first round or first overall picks. All
They
three of them.
could, yeah,
And then the fourth guy would be Jalen Suggs, who's by far the best point guard in this draft. Those four after that, it becomes a drop off from five. It's a drop off from one to four, and then like five to eight or nine, and then it just falls off again after that. Obviously, I would have Scotty Barnes leading the way. With that second tier group, but I mean, even then, Scotty Barnes was only putting up like 13 to 15 points a game. He wasn't
yeah. That's
going
an
crazy.
upside pick. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's a great defender though. He's long. He can play multiple positions, and his offensive inconsistency kind of shows. But I mean,
And
that's something that you would pick as a projection. And honestly, if the Kings were to, if he was available at 9 with the Kings, I would not be mad if we went with him.
he's not because we're going to take him at five if we don't trade up.
Trade up.
Yeah, a package at fifth and eighth. See what Houston's talking about with number two.
You're crazy. Why would Houston drop after there was talks of them going trying to get to number one?
Because they won't be able to do it.
There's no way they think they think it's that big of a drop off from like Cunningham to either Green, Mobley, or dude. They should get Mobley low key.
Why?
Houston, why not? You got Kevin
Chris
Porter.
and
Yeah, you got
Christian
Christian
Wood.
Wood. Okay, then you can put Evan Mobley at the 5 or Wood at the 5.
Yeah, and then
Then
you're
what?
still stuck not knowing who your starting point guard. All right, well, they're probably going to keep
You don't
that.
think you don't think
They're,
Kevin Porter Jr. can move to the 2 or move to the 1?
what are you going to do with that fat contract John Wall got?
You probably looking to move him.
And then what about the three? No,
Let's see.
House is not going to be my starter every game. I'm sorry,
Why
bro.
you don't need like a full on. Not every freaking starter needs to be like a
Okay,
star caliber player.
then who's my two going to be? My starting two is Eric Gordon.
Okay, yeah, why
No,
not?
bro, you ain't winning like that. You ain't not winning like that,
I'd have
boy.
to look at the roster.
If you don't go to man, if they don't take Jalen Green, who's gonna be a stud too. Plus, to me, Jalen Green and Kevin Porter play very similar games. Very similar.
So wait, so you want two players that have the similar game on the same team?
Now, motherfucker, yeah, if they both go be dogs, I could care less. They can work together and figure it out.
I'll pass. I'll take it a little bit, but that's just me.
And this is why we're both sitting here and not in the office. All right, we're gonna hop off that. We're gonna save more of our draft talk for Thursday. Again, guys, for those of you who may have skipped through Thursday night, I need you guys to tune in to our IG page. It is NBA Cast, of course. We'll be going live and discussing the draft. Obviously, just the lottery picks with you guys and how everything is playing out. Now, the last thing I want to do before I close out this NBA talk, this NBA discussion, talk to me about this USA basketball team.
uh, I don't know, man. After what Lillard said, man, it sounds like they don't have country pride, bro. They don't. You heard the comment that he said? He
Yeah,
said that these guys play a lot different for their country than they do in the league. Yeah, because they have freaking pride. They don't want to let their country down. USA is like,
man.
I don't care.
I don't think that's the case.
So I'm just saying that
Excuse me.
comment is pretty stupid. Because what you basically said is that they got more pride for their country than you guys do.
That's not what he said. He said nothing about pride. He just says they play a little bit differently, and this is why.
That's
And this
the
is
way I see
I'm gonna
it.
defend. I'm gonna defend his comment because
All right.
those guys that we see that are balling out, obviously besides Luca, this has been happening. This has been happening. I remember watching Puerto Rico's team way back when, and Carlos Arroyo, who barely was getting minutes at Orlando, looked like Kobe Bryant when Puerto Rico was playing. So when it comes to them, you're asking role players, bench guys to be
Mm-hmm.
their number one. And they've already built a system in the program for those guys. Two, a lot of the Euros and a lot of those overseas guys are all shooting 37% from three. In the
Yeah.
NBA, I'm gonna put it in perspective for some of you guys. Damian Lillard, who we all consider a top five shooter, Damian Lillard is only shooting 38% from three. When those guys have multiple guys, a majority of their guys are shooting 37%. It fits their style. Three, they only play those rules, FIBA rules. They only play European ball rules. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
over here, the rules are totally different. Yes, you can say it's softer. I would understand. I'm not here to argue with that, but I am saying that the officiating is 110% different, which is also why our guys are looking for fouls that they're just not getting. I've had friends that have played overseas, and the first thing they've always said when they came back is the first thing they noticed is physicality. That is the very first thing they've always said, and that's not playing at the bigger leagues such as Spain and whatnot. I'm talking about leagues like Switzerland and some German leagues. That's they've always said physicality, and it shows. It's showing right now. So, like I said, and then and let's all give because we're going to touch on this. Where everyone is giving Luca so much credit, and he had an amazing game. He scored 48. He was on pace to score
Mm-hmm.
60, but they went up big, and obviously the cruise control was put on. And we're giving him so much credit. Luca has been playing European ball since he was 16 professionally.
Yep.
This dude grew up on this style of play. This is not nothing new to him. He had to adjust to the NBA. He don't have to adjust for FIBA. This is what he does. This is what he knows best. So as much of a dog as he's been, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that is what they should have came in and expected from those guys. Evan Fournier, man, just dropped damn near 30 on us. Come on, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it doesn't help when, like, what's crazy is the fact that we have so many players that you consider like closers in the NBA on that USA team. We were up four with like 2.5 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the closing time, and we just couldn't make a shot in the final 50 seconds. In the final minute, we couldn't make a bucket. Period. And I mean, I just find that crazy how we have so many closers or so many players that we're known to close games out, and then you can't make anything when the game's on the line in the Olympics. It makes no sense.
Well, this is where I have to start pointing some blame. One, I'm pointing the blame over at Kevin Durant. Dude was in foul trouble all game. He never was able to get going.
Nope. He
Uh,
fouled out.
Damian Lillard, I don't want to give him any. I'm not really blaming him, but you not being able to shoot anything, make anything, that's an issue. But most importantly, my issue is with Pop. My issues with Pop. He's still running. They are still running offensive sets that the Spurs championship team is running. Like
Mm-hmm.
one, you don't have a facilitator on your team like a Tony Parker to be able to run that. Damian Lillard and Tony Parker are two totally different players. Second of all, you don't have the versatility in bigs. I mean, you have Bam, but if you're going to use Bam, you need to play Bam a lot more than you do. And and yes, like I said, you don't have a facilitator. So this is where you probably should call Steve Kerr and you should say, "Look, bro, my guys, they're not really facilitators. Damian Lillard is a great point guard, but he's never been a guy to sit here and just dime away and get others involved, right? So I would
Yeah.
call Steve Kerr and I say, Steve, okay, how does Draymond work best? I would have Draymond bring up the ball just like Steve Kerr does. And of course, it's not flashy. He doesn't sit here and dribble with the ball for more than 5 seconds when he crosses the half court. But he gets the
Hmm.
ball and he runs the sets. That's the best way I think to utilize the talent that we have because that will put Damian Lillard in more off ball situations. Obviously, that puts Kevin Durant in some off ball situations who we all know coming off the screen is going to knock down that jump shot. And then that's the style you should run. If it comes to a style where you want to play pick and roll, then you can put the ball back in Damian Lillard's hands. When it comes to a style where you want to play isolation ball, then that's when you call Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and you get them the ball. But I mean, the players you have to adjust to them. I mean, even Zach Levine. Zach Levine is an isolation player as well. So we got a guys that's a bunch of one-on-one guys. So
Hmm.
now Pop has to make it work and stop being lazy and just basically saying, "Hey, all stars are going to make it work."
Yeah, I mean, it. I just I don't know. Obviously, coming into the Olympics, we showed some struggle as well because obviously we lost to Nigeria and then we lost to Australia, right?
Yep.
And then we had one more game against who was that third game against where we won pretty easily?
Spain.
Was it Spain?
Yeah.
Spain's usually pretty good too, aren't they?
Yeah, but Spain's also older.
Yeah, they are. But but yeah, I mean, obviously we had some struggles, and then it continued to show during the Olympics. I mean, again, we had control of the game for. I
Hmm.
mean, it was going back and forth for most of the game, and then we kind of looked like we were going to pull it away, and then that final 2 minutes, we couldn't do anything.
Right.
And when you struggle to basically score in the final 2 minutes, obviously depending on the shots, because we had some open shots, like Kevin Durant missed some wide open threes
Yep.
at the top of the key that you just don't expect, and then obviously you had Lillard who had the ball at the top of the key and slipped down at the end, and then that pretty much was the nail in the coffin. But
Yep.
I mean, you can blame it on coaching because yes, adjustments can be made. But at the same time, I mean, that's just one of those games. The shots weren't falling because when you see Kevin Durant have open threes, you just assume that's going to go in.
Hmm.
And then we had another miss with Drew Holiday in the corner, wide open. He missed. I mean, we just weren't making buckets.
Yeah, and that's why I said that is one of those games where it happens. It's basketball. It's gonna be
Yeah,
games out there where you're just not hitting. But that's why I said that's where adjustments have to come along. Um, and the defense wasn't horrible. I mean, honestly, we held them to barely scoring 82. And that was with
yeah,
us being trash. That's us not hitting shots. So the defense, it's not
yeah.
that the defense wasn't there. It's just we got to get something going offensively, and we just got to freaking. The thing is, you can't leave no one open. And honestly, I think we are way too talented to even help on anybody, especially
Yeah.
on drives. Maybe down in the post. Obviously, Rudy Gobert is not even an offensive guy, but you still have to kind of give him a second eye because he's just so much bigger than everybody we have out there. But besides the bigs, dribble drive, guys, don't crash. Stay in front of your man and play some damn defense. I mean, it's that simple. Evan Fournier should not have scored 28. He should not have continued to have open 3-point shots throughout the whole game. It's not like he scored 15 in the second quarter, and kind of inflated his stats. He was scoring throughout the game. He was making key buckets throughout the game. Those last like 3 minutes, he still hit two more threes.
Mhm.
I mean, they're going to figure it out. I'm a firm believer that they're going to place. All right, they're going to place.
I hope you're right, but it ain't looking pretty, man.
They're going to place just because they're naturally better. I mean, Spain is still
They are
a
naturally better, but
perennial.
at the
They're a
same time,
perennial European team. Besides them, besides Slovakia, who's after that? That's going to beat us. I don't see Australia beating us again. Sorry, I don't. Nigeria. they just got what? Like I just seen them get 20, 30 piece in their first game to Australia. So I
Yep.
don't even want to hear nothing about Nigeria. um, uh,
They made like what was it, like 20 or 33? I think it was like 20 plus threes against us.
yeah, bro, 20
They
plus
shot
30
lights out.
and again, they still barely won.
Hmm.
That's the thing. We are losing. Yes, that's an issue. But look at what it's taking for us to lose. And this is us playing probably the worst basketball us as Americans have seen since before the Redeem Team.
Yeah,
So
you're
something's gonna give.
definitely right about that.
Either stars are gonna start hitting shots, or somebody's gonna step up in the locker room and say, "Okay, guys, this is unfucking believable." Or Pop is gonna make the adjustments necessary necessary to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's just
hope
how
you're
it's gonna
right.
be.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I remember when we lost that first game. I tweeted out saying, "I guarantee that we will not lose another game this year." And we lost the very next one. Safe to say that guarantee was not a guarantee, but I mean, I feel like this on paper. Obviously, games aren't played on paper, and there's a reason for that. But on
Hmm.
paper, we are more talented than every team by a mile. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
not close.
yep,
Because I mean, we got the every game we probably have four of the top five players on the court at all times,
yep,
and I don't see how we can win. How we don't keep it close. Like we should be blowing them out because the closer you keep it, or the longer you keep it close, the more hope that other team has.
yep.
And when you give another team hope, sometimes that's all they need, and then we see us lose games that we shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Fournier came out and said it post game. He's like, yeah, they have a lot of individual talent. They're great individually, but as a team,
Yep.
they can be beat. That was his
Yeah.
words, and he was
Yeah.
110% spot on. Nothing he said was offensive. It was right. It was right.
Yeah. 100% right because we are more talented than every team we're going to be against. But if we're not working well as a team, I mean, that's just how it goes.
Listen, all I know is we got Slovakia next, and Lucas dropping 60.
Oh, you know he's going to. He's going to be. But I hope we 20 piece him.
I do too. I hope we turn it around, turn the piece and give the country hope again. Because right now, I think everybody's kind of writing us off.
Yep. I know. I'm getting there. If we
Well,
lose our next game, man,
so
I
that's
don't
it
know.
for us.
Pretty much.
Well, that basically wraps up everything I have, for today. Even for
Yep.
basketball, I'm about done with it. Um, Obviously, I still can't wait to see how USA is going to do. Can't wait to see this offseason in the NBA. And even on a shorter term, I can't wait till the draft. I hope Orlando makes some noise. I hope we get some trades. Maybe CJ McCollum gets moved. I want to see something big, something
Yeah.
crazy happen. So,
Hey, there's talk about Pascal Siakam.
yeah, I seen that. And that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of rumors. I mean, the off season in basketball, I don't know if there's a better sport for off season. I really don't.
I don't either
Because
because so much can happen.
yep, and then free agency. Obviously, you got free agency where people like Timothy Mozgov get paid like 20 mil a year.
Hey, mind your business. Or Orlando messed that up, man.
Orlando, y'all didn't pay him, did he?
Yeah, we paid him, or we ended up getting him from somebody who paid him.
Yeah, I thought it was the Lakers that paid him.
Probably, I can't remember.
It
I
was
just know
somebody
that fucker
stupid.
ended up on my team, and we
I
had him.
remember that year. That year, so many people got paid that had no business getting paid. Like, I
That's
mean,
very
I'm
true.
talking role players getting paid 18, 20 million a year. That
Yeah.
that was crazy.
And because of that year, we got Dennis Schroeder asking for $100 million. Goodbye, boy.
Yeah, I hope the Lakers don't pay
But yeah,
him.
that wraps it up. Steve O, thank you for being part of the show as always. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Yep, always glad to be here, man.
And for all of you guys who is listening, please, first and foremost, thank you. But please don't forget to follow us. We're on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under NBA Cast. Like I said, we're constantly hitting you guys with updates, especially on Twitter. We're always uh, commenting under other sites, interacting with people, having fun with it. So always be on the lookout, comment back, have fun with us as well. You never know when your comments will be on the next show. Again, for the third time tonight, this show. Don't forget, Thursday is our NBA draft special. We will be around for the lottery only, which is the top 14 teams, because we understand that most of America don't give a damn about any pick outside or even the top 10. So we'll be cutting it off at 14 so we don't take up your whole night, but we will also still stick around and probably be posting throughout Twitter, as the draft continues. So with
Yep.
that being said, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.